We don't got no cool intro yet on the SouthSide Boys because I have not tested it to make sure that we have and we don't get copyrighted. But what is up, everybody? Is we are here today on the SouthSide Boys YouTube channel as we are 1 week away officially to the 2025 MLB season beginning. Or I guess if you're a Cubs fan or a Dodgers fan, you woke up at 5 a.m. and you played in Tokyo. If that was the White Sox, I definitely would have gotten up and watched it, but that the MLB season is kind of underway, but everybody else begins next week. So we're here to predict the season because next week, all three of us will be most likely at the game. So we will not be live here next week to watch and to talk about opening day. You'll have to wait till the following week. But today, like I said, preview, predict, and everything else. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get the co-host of co-host in here, the man that is going to be taking over the Southside Boys and Tino's time soon because I'm tired. Deech, what's up, bro? How you doing today?
What's up, man? We are a week away. There was snow on the ground this morning, and you were like, "What the hell is this?" But I mean, we move on from here. So
don't you remember
down the day, man?
You said counting the days. Aren't you so
like
excited
Christmas
to have? Isn't it? It's so exciting to just get ready to watch a team lose every single day again.
Hey.
I don't think it'll be that bad, But Deech, you're going to be taking over the channel soon. But we're not here alone today because we do have a very special guest. Justin is watching March Madness, so good luck to Justin. Let's hope his bracket doesn't get busted too quickly, and let's hope he enjoys his day. But we have a guest joining us for the first time, and he said this is his first time ever on a podcast and everything. So be nice to him, guys. Well, let's welcome him to the Southside Boys. And if you are joining us from Tino's time, I appreciate you. But let's welcome. He is the commander of the Will Venable Army, and he must be the reason why he is the manager of the White Sox now. And let's hope he does bring an army with him to win more than 41 games. Guys, let's welcome Damien to the Southside Boys. What's up, Damien?
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. Looking forward to talking about the season. Yes, it was a rough one last year, guys. So let's focus on
positivity.
Well, listen, I don't have nothing positive to say about these guys until they show it up the field no more.
So let's focus on the positive. That's development and trying to be better. That's what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Trying to be better is what we're going.
Just be better. Last year was rough.
Be better.
But yeah, I've been a fan since '83 because I'm the oldest guy here. But that was rough last year. So let's try to be better.
Do you think that was the worst? Like, obviously, it was the worst MLB season, but like, do you think for like a fan, like, do you think that was the worst season like you've ever like watched? Like, obviously, the record says it was, but like in general, like, because you've obviously seen a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, to me, because remember the Ventura years and the early Ricky years, the rebuild. Yeah. That wasn't as bad. This was like they were like a civic embarrassment. That's the thing. It's like. If even the first year under Pedro, they were 101 losses. They weren't as bad. Last year, they were a civic embarrassment. Losing to the Cubs every game. How do you lose to the fucking Cubs every game? I'm seriously, you can't do that. You just can't do that. I mean, even when the Sox had worse teams, I remember the Cubs were better, and the Sox walked in there and beat them like 2 out of 3, because they just were. It was the rivalry. So. No, man, it just sucked watching it, and I stayed with it. I'm like, I kept calling, you got to fire Pedro, get Grady in, or somebody. I was big on the Montoya. I thought he'd be the guy to take over. I mean, because he had experience, but I liked Grady last year, and I'm glad they kept Grady on because I like him. So
what is he doing now exactly?
I don't know.
They made up like a position for him. It's not one you normally see on it. I can't remember the exact name, but I mean, they were like, okay, we need to keep him. Obviously, guys buy into like his voice. So
yeah, I mean, they call it the offensive coordinator. It can't be any worse than Shane Waldron was, right?
Yeah. So, but I think too. I mean, to Damien's point, it was so bad last year that you had like Cubs fans that weren't even like trying to rub it in your face. They were just like, "I'm sorry."
They're like,
it was so bad, and the thing is, they should have won both games at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, you had 5-0, weren't they? In like the first.
And then the rain came. And what's his name? Flexen was dealing. Remember, Flexen was
best game of his career.
It's like then he has to go. Then he comes back and he doesn't. Not the same stuff, but they still should have won.
Man, it's like the Cubs only win when they get the rain. That's how they won the World Series too.
Right, and then
blaming it on the Cubs didn't win the
yeah.
Series.
And then we almost beat them here, and it's just the whole season. Everything was a mess, So I just, again, when they started off 3-22 last year, he should have fired him. But again, I don't know what held him on. I think maybe Getz had to wait, but I don't know. So, but again, that's in the past. Let's just focus on what we have to do now this year. That's the thing.
And Damian will also be at the home opener as well. So we got a ton of people hitting it up. For as much as everyone's bashing, why would you go watch a team that lost 121? It's like, because we're White Sox fans. That's what we do.
Yeah, it's cool. It's my kid's 23rd birthday, so we're gonna go. Should be fun. So
that's good.
I've never been to opening day before either, so I'm excited actually. So I look at the top.
Opening day is different. Like, I like going. I like all of that stuff. Hopefully the weather.
It's about 50 degrees.
Yeah.
Who knows? We can wake up and it's a great. I remember one year, and the only reason why I remember this is because I was having a WrestleMania party, and we literally walked outside, and it was snowing outside, and literally the next day was opening day. Me and my dad looked at each other, we're like, "Are we really going?" And luckily it stopped. Yeah. It went, but it just and that was like April, because they obviously April is when the season used to begin. Now it's at the end.
Well, yeah, it was.
Yeah,
right.
So it's just that. That's my only thing. So
yeah, they're pushing opening day to late March. Really, my opinion, opening day was always like April 10th.
Yeah.
DJ was talking about it on the radio the other day. He's like, nothing was ever before April 10th, and because they used to open with double headers. For the Colt, and that's the thing. And then owners put a kibosh to that, and the Reds used to always get the first game because they're the oldest team in the major leagues. The Reds are, so they used to always get the first game at like noon, and then the Red. Now that went away, of course. The Cubs and Dodgers already played. So
I know, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
0-2.
Yeah. And the Dodgers are so damn good, though.
It's disgusting. I was talking to my cousin. He's like, I don't even know if I'm going to watch the season. The Dodgers are just so good. They're going to win. They have the best budget. And that, because I was asking him about MLB The Show and everything. And, but I was just and it's been hard, especially this offseason, because how bad they were, the White Sox. They really didn't talk too much. And obviously, if you're listening to Chicago sports and everything, that's different. But I think that's going to be one of the good things, though, is they have no expectations for anything. And that's a lot what I've heard of during the camp and all the podcasts I've listened to with Chuck and everything, is that these guys wanted to come here and they wanted to be here to prove. And the guys that have come here want to do something with where the guys that were here are hungry and they want to, like you said, let's forget about last year and let's focus on 2025 and everything else like that, because we can't change last year. It happened. It's in record books. We're always going to know where we were for the 2024 MLB White Sox season when they lost every damn game. So that's the one thing that is exciting. And they got a lot of new names and a lot of new guys that are on this team, and a lot of guys that should be standing out, such as Sean Burke making his debut and becoming the opening day starter. I completely his name is blanking on me right now. Who is the guy that literally just 2 hours ago got named to the Ross you just said?
Shane Smith.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Smith. I was gonna say the other way. So Shane Smith getting and making it to the roster, and I had to cut up some onions because I started tearing up a little bit, because it's so cool to see guys like that. I love watching the rise, and hopefully all of these guys playing together helps out and everything else like that. And obviously it's not going to be right away on the product on the field, because the guys that they have on the field right now are all the guys that are probably not going to be up there when, obviously, the Colstons have been sent down and other guys have, but
the catching duo, and I think they're going to be up sooner than we think. Those Kiro and Teal are they're gonna force their way up. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna force their way up. They're that good. I think they're good.
Teal, I think that he's taking this opportunity, even from the way he was acting at Sox Fest. He seemed like he was just ready and he wanted the opportunity to come here and And honestly, I'll be honest, I didn't know who they were when they first traded for them. I didn't know who Brendan Montgomery was. I didn't know who Kyle Teal was, because like Deech said, the PTSD and everything else with the trades. Like I still remember we got Moncada, and I just remember the guy sitting next to me. He's like, "Guy, you're gonna have a Hall of Famer." I'm like, "Yeah,
Gosh.
okay, blah blah," blah. And here he is. And now
After 2019, we thought.
yeah. And you said, I think you said before we were recording, do you say he's on the IL again and he's not?
Yeah, for a sore thumb, or he may go on the IL with a sore thumb. I talked to a guy from Angels Twitter, and he said, "Yeah, he's like, what's this sore thumb? What's up with that?" I'm like, "Dude, just get ready for that. You get ready for it. Then get ready for it. You know, Tim looks like he's working his way, you know, to play and everything, and that's good for him. I hope Tim does well. I really do. I think. Well, he did. He gave a lot to the Sox. He fell off. We know why. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that you know, we'll see how it shakes out. I mean, I think Teal was picked right before Jacob Gonzalez was so when Kenny Williams picked Jacob Gonzalez, who knows what's going to happen with him. I think the Sox wanted to pick Teal because they needed a catcher, but he was picked right before. Braden Montgomery, I think, was in college, and he had that awful injury in college, so he didn't play in the minors last year. So he's up this year. I like what I see out of him. I like what I see out of Braden Montgomery. So now he's gonna hit the minors. So he'll probably be in Winston, and then, but I like what I see. So yeah. And then
my draft too. They seem to be high on my draft.
Oh yeah.
I know like Amaya seems like a lock, but could Mydrith push him out? I mean, they're too high on him to just keep. I mean, they had him starting at shortstop today. They must see something in him.
I think they like his way he takes at bats. I know the batting average isn't high, and I know batting average isn't a thing anymore. But it's like it'll be higher. He's a good hitter. It seems like he makes a lot of contact, works counts, and gets on base. You know, the money ball meme. So I post a lot. But I think the thing is, that's why I think they like him. I think he's a pretty good fielder. They like all that. He can play all that stuff. So that's the type of direction I think Getz wants the team to go into, because right now they don't have bombers. So they got to, let's go ahead and get guys on base, work counts. Look how Luis Roberts, I mean, he looks like a totally different hitter this spring. I mean, he's working counts. He's taking 10 pitch at bats. He's, you know, not, you know, so if he can keep this up, he's going to be really good. He's going to be insane. So the thing, I think that's the type. Rojas is the same way. I think they're trying to get these guys to take longer at bats, get on base, walk. So, because they're going to have to create runs anyway. They're going to have to find ways to create runs anyway. Because they're not going to be.
Issue last year too was you would be in games and it's like, why the hell is every starter on the opposing team going like 7+ innings?
Yeah.
Where like you're not burning their bullpen at all.
And the guys would have like 6.7 ERAs.
Yes.
You would think it would be a great day. And they would come out and they would look like superstars. And it's like, what is going on right now? I was thinking about it as we're all talking. We won 41 games last year. I bet you, like, if we could all name like 10 and have like 30 of them right there, because that's how, and it's sad, that's how many wins that they really had, where it was so far in between. Where, as you said earlier, we were 3-22 at the end of April.
Yeah. I mean, who broke the losing streak in Oakland? Was that Davis Martin? That was Davis Martin, right?
I think so. That was where Benintendi homer or something.
Yes, Benintendi homered. That kind of got him going. That's where he got.
That's right.
Going. Yeah.
That's right. Because I think they were close to that Saturday or like the.
That's when they.
And then they blew it, and then the next. That's right. Yeah, I remember now.
That was right before Pedro got fired.
Yeah, because he got fired the next day. I think they were waiting for it
to come home. That's So they fired him, Montoya, and everybody. So like, yeah, let's go. Yeah, I was like, are they going to fire him before the road trip? They usually don't do that. They don't fire a guy before a road trip. They usually wait till they get home. So
yeah, I would left his ass in Oakland. Leave him at the Coliseum.
Yeah, that's the perfect spot for him. To be honest with you, that's a.
I still that press conference when he said we're going to go out there and whoop their asses. I think I've just been so traumatized by all of this. I just can't even like my love and my fandom for the White Sox will always be there. I try not to go into it with anything because it's just like after what they spewed to us for years, it's just like, oh my God. Like it's gotten to the point, Damien, where like me specifically, like I'm selling like half my shit because I'm just so tired of looking at it. All these bobbleheads I bought, all these like things I'm just like, I don't even want to look at it no more.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've seen a lot of good baseball. I've seen a lot of bad baseball, and I've seen a lot of like average baseball. Like that's the thing. For my years as Sox fan, I saw a lot of like the Jerry Manuel years were like
you've seen it all. You've
average, you know.
Jerry,
And then
not Jerry. You've seen Griffey, you've seen Manny, you've seen them
oh
all.
boy. Yeah, Kenny Williams always got his guy, my lord.
Speaking of guys, let's talk. I want to start it off though with Deech's favorite guy, and I know Deech is going to be happy about this news because his favorite player on the White Sox has been sent down to AAA. Oscar Colas has been sent down to AAA, and this is as of like 2 or 3 hours ago. So obviously we do not know the full roster yet, but the White Sox with this move have 41 players remaining in camp, 20 pitchers, 3 catchers, 12 infielders, and 6 outfielders. Like I said, we probably won't officially know the opening day roster until like Tuesday, Wednesday next week, right?
Yeah, I think that that puts us around the 24th, 25th-ish, so that should be around that time, yeah.
So, but
I just like to reason with people. My disdain for Oscar Colas is that he just represents everything that went wrong in the last rebuild. He doesn't seem like he buys into what the coaches tell him. I mean, he makes continuous, just like mental errors. I mean, the ball hit him in the face, or got close to hitting him in the face at the beginning of spring training. I just don't know. I mean, he's one of those where after this year, if you do nothing, hopefully he does something in the minors where some team is just like desperate and it's like, whatever, like we'll give you cash or a player to be named later. I just don't want him on the team. He reminds me too much of Eloy. I was at a game last year, or whenever he debuted. It was like one of the first few games I saw him live. There was a ball lined between him and Robert, so it's like bouncing. It goes like under Colas's glove, and he looks up and just starts laughing. And I was just like, nope, don't want this on my team ever again.
And here's the thing about Colas. He was doing really well in Birmingham. What I think they brought him up to Charlotte right before 2 years ago, right? And he did pretty well for like 10 days. What Rick Hahn should have done is left him in Charlotte last year. They should have left him in Charlotte and let him get more work and go sign a veteran right fielder. Not a lot of money, just a veteran right fielder, and let Colas develop, let Colas work. Because that manager, I can't pronounce his last name. He's a third base coach. Yeah, he was the manager down in Charlotte. So let him work with him because JJ, yeah. So the thing about JJ is everybody likes JJ. They think he's a really good guy and a really good coach. Let him work with him some more. Let him develop him. So that was a mistake, I think, because they kind of forced him up here. You could tell even Pedro didn't like him. You could tell when Pedro wanted him gone. He's like, yeah, this isn't going to work, man, because he just is lazy. And I remember a game, it was early in April, and it was cold. It was probably 40 degrees tops. I mean, for us, it's not that bad. We're from here. He hated it out. He was so bundled up. There was a ball, and he threw his mitt at it. He literally threw his mitt at it.
Oh yeah,
and it went into the netting. He threw his mitt at it. I'm like, come on, dude, really?
Yeah.
I think that just has a lot to do with like how the players and like the way maybe I don't know, but he doesn't seem to have that like.
Maturity was his biggest issue I heard in the minors.
So I was trying to find a better word.
To take someone who is immature and promote them prematurely, I think was, like Damian pointed out, the biggest mistake. I mean, remember the hype videos? They were acting like he was going to pop off for like 30 home runs and run for Rookie of the Year at that point. It was like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that like the year that we're supposed to compete in Pedro's first year, like they wanted him to, let's see if we can bury him in the order like 6 or 7 and have the other guys carry him through and he would just grow with the team. He wasn't ready yet. He wasn't ready. I wanted him to be ready. I really did, but he just wasn't ready. So, you know, at the end of the day, like see the thing with Eloy was when he was on the Cubs and he was like their top prospect. He was like their top guy.
For their number one and like one pitching, one hitter. Because I remember when they first got him, like I remember Cubs fans just being pissed because the Cubs got rid of like everything and blah, blah.
And for Quintana, because Theo was going for it. Credit to Theo, he was going for it. I have no problem with that. I got zero problem with that. So the thing is, and they were in that mode where you still had their guys. They still had their core of dudes. Yeah. So they couldn't land Bryce Harper, but they wanted some guys. So
and Quintana did nothing for them either.
No. And Quintana, we know Quintana. He's a good pitcher. Like I told my buddy who's a Cub fan, I'm like, listen, he's a good pitcher, but he's not that guy. You know what I mean? He's not that guy. He's
never
not
been
Sale.
that.
So.
But that's the big thing I think that people need to, I guess, give Getz credit for. Getz seems to be like, I'm going to build the farm and then I'm going to continue to replenish the farm. It's not going to be like Han, where it was like the farm is one unit, it moves, and then it's just like complete shit under it. Because, I mean, the second someone got hurt, you were like, who the hell are we going to get?
That was Rick Hahn. He thought he pushed his chips into the middle of the table and said, these are the guys. And then he extended them without them earning it. He extended them without them earning it. And these are my guys. Now listen, I know Jerry pulled the rug underneath him with Tony. That's not on Rick. Okay, so with Tony. But at the end of the day, you still got a job to do when replenishing the farm system. So, and he didn't do that. And then when the guys got the thing about 21, I will give Rick credit for, like Goodwin, Jake Lamb, guys like that. He found them. He found them, and they did a good job. So
he wanted to hit on everybody, and that's always been the thing with him. Where it was just like they always want to hit on those guys that they think they can get for cheap, and they're gonna become the Billy Hamiltons.
Yeah.
And it just like it happens, but it doesn't happen with everybody. And sometimes you just gotta pay, because most of the time you pay and you end up seeing where teams are going, and and that's just the thing. And that's at least what I hope at least happens. But it is nice to see a lot of these young guys. And you did mention the guy earlier. Chris Getz was actually talking about him, and he said we could actually see him maybe at some point this year. You said, is it Murdiff, or I'm not good. What's his name? I'm sorry, I'm not good at pronouncing.
Chase Mydrith.
Mydrith, yeah. He might start with the team. I mean, I think they want him to have the position. I think, well, the plan was to have Colson have the position. That's the thing. And now, if Colson was doing his thing, we wouldn't be here. And whatever. And I understand why I wanted Colson up here, but the thing is, I think it's the right decision to have him in AAA right now. He needs some at bats. They need some at bats. So, hopefully he's up. Hopefully he tears it up right away in April. And I think if he does, he'll be up here in May if he does. So
the thing with the back injury, you don't want him up here tweaking his back in the cold. Yeah. I think that was really what it came down to. Like, the tipping point is like he didn't really play a lot in spring training. My big thing though is, now, would you start Mydrith at shortstop, or do you let him play second base and you tell some of these veterans, like, hey, I know this isn't your like primary position. I mean, and I include Sosa in that even.
Mm-hmm. I mean, does Rojas play shortstop too? Does he play shortstop or no? Or is he just?
I think he has before. I know it's not like a frequent.
Yeah.
So
and you gotta have the
probably at shortstop.
That's the thing, because Brooks Baldwin too is.
Brooks is there. I mean. And he's an actual shortstop. So.
And I feel like he was like one of the rare guys last year that I actually like enjoyed watching. Like him and Brian Ramos might be like the two guys I actually enjoyed watching last year with how bad. And I'm the guy that watches every game because I just have like something wrong with me that needs to have the White Sox on every day. But
Yeah, because the thing about Ramos is he's actually hit well this spring. But I haven't seen him in the field yet I'm trying to get some updates on his elbow, because he hasn't played the field yet. So I think he'll be in Charlotte. I want to see him at third base so he can throw. If he hits well in Charlotte and he's throwing, okay, well, then he'll be up here eventually as well. So, I mean, it'd be ideal if him and Colson and then the two catchers work their way up there sooner rather than later, but as long as they're developing properly.
And they're going to have to pick their choice here with third base. I think at a certain point you decide, do you want Vargas or do you want Ramos? And one of them you got to start pushing to play first base. I'm not a fan of this outfield stuff. I don't think it's necessary. Mm-mm. But like first base, I think we can all agree here. Andrew Vaughn is not part of the future in the next like after this year, possibly next year.
Right field.
I think Will Venable understands he can't do that.
Go ahead.
And I think even Getz understands you can't do that. I think, but because Vargas has played some first base, and I've watched him play there. He's picking the balls out of the dirt, doing a pretty good job. He's also a bigger target. Vaughn is 5'10". Vargas is a bigger guy. So I think Vargas could be it. If Vargas turns out to be the guy, if Vargas turns out to be like a good player, Well, you could slide him over, and then we'll see what happens. Does Colson move to third? That's something they have to look at. That's, or does Ramos? Because Colson's looked good in the field. That's, I'll give him. So we'll see. That's something they have to figure out. They're gonna have to figure out.
I think that's the biggest thing though, and that's where I think that's the one thing about this year though is I kind of like it where we really don't know, so we could see these guys come up and just and that just again they win more than three games in April. I call it
I think they will. I believe they will.
Success.
Well,
Shit, you said they sweep the Angels. Shit, we go 62-0. Let's do
it. Well, I've seen too. I think Brewers fans are having a little bit of seller's remorse here with Shane Smith. I mean, a Rule 5 guy who breaks camp, he's going to be in the rotation, and he seems to have the motivation. I mean, and I will give the Sox social media team credit. Their content has been pretty off the charts. I mean, even those videos, I mean, everyone I feel like chokes up a little because you're like, I mean, that's cool. This guy's dedicated probably 20 years of his life.
Yes.
And even the families, you're sitting there I mean, how much time did the parents invest in all of that and money and all of that? So it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, listen,
from a full circle, I think is really cool.
Listen, from a parent who had a kid who played college football, he played D1 ball before he stopped playing. I know how that is, investing in camps, investing in building, investing in all that stuff. It's one of those things where you get that reward. I remember when my son committed to college and he playing because he got the scholarship. I was like, dude, this is it. You arrived, man. You received your dream. So yeah, it means something. It does.
The fact he's 24 years old, it's I don't know. Do you watch, Damien? Do you watch wrestling? Are you a big wrestling fan?
I was for a lot of years. I haven't followed in the last few years, but I used to be, 80s Attitude Era, all that stuff, and then past that for a while. Then I kind of stopped. But I do know what's going on, but I go back.
So that's what I'm more of known for, the wrestling and everything. Yeah. But it's just seeing these young, the young superstars, the developmental, they're all 20, 24 years old. And it's crazy to think Shane Smith is 24 years old. Or 24 years old, I was sitting at a bar at Dave & Buster's watching the Sox. And it's so cool to see somebody get the opportunity. It's so young, making the team. And now he's going to experience all of that opening day stuff.
Yeah.
To where he's going to get those jitters out. And that just like you said, him making it with a Rule 5 draft, that rarely happens. And him getting the opportunity is just, I mean, you never know. And like you said, him being in the rotation is more than less likely because even Chris Getz said it on the podcast today that I was listening to. I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen.
I have some of it, yeah.
I tried to just because obviously I knew we were going to talk about some of it. But, I mean, he said, he really doesn't know who's going to be this and that. And even Sean Burke, he earned it. And I think that's the biggest thing is these guys got to earn it and earn the position and earn what you're going to do because, again, there's really no, anything set in stone, obviously, besides Robert. And that was also mentioned. Robert, they said that Chris Getz said there's been semi-talk, but nothing has really got going. And Chris Getz did say that there would have to be a buttload to give to get Luis Roberts. So I just did want to throw that out there while we were talking about that. But yeah, let's talk about the pitching rotation because we do have obviously Davis Martin, Sean Burke, Martin Perez. Is Bryce Wilson a starter? Is he a reliever? Am I thinking of two different people?
He's kind of one that does both. I think he's going to wind up in the bullpen, and Shane Smith, based on even Future Sox posted, it's likely Shane Smith is going to get that last spot. Even though, I mean, Jonathan Cannon's kind of looked not overly great this spring training, but it's hard to tell because you don't know what they're working on or not working on. So
that was going to be my question because obviously you've watched more than I have because obviously you still live in Chicago and you have better opportunity than I do because I can't watch anything. What have you seen from the pitchers in spring and stuff like that? Obviously, Shane Smith has been a standout and Sean Burke and stuff like that we've seen in the few games. But like you said with Cannon, the last thing I saw from Cannon was he was doing actually pretty well. But again, I haven't watched too much of the spring, so is he not making the rotation? Because I thought he would.
No, Cannon will. It's the thing. Thorpe got today they said something about Thorpe's elbow being sore, so they were going to be doing some imaging and stuff on that. So I mean, it's almost a blessing that Shane Smith kind of fell into our laps through the Rule 5 draft, because I don't know that there's anyone necessarily out of the youth, like the younger pitchers. Like, you can't just run out like Noah Schultz this year. So, I mean, there wasn't that like bridge gap of what happens if one of these guys goes down. So Shane Smith really just been a blessing, especially with the Thorpe news today. So
yeah, I think, and I think I think the Sox are. Sorry about my a little bit of issue there. I think the Sox are trying. Hey, Sox win, by the way. There we go. Beat the Angels. Beat the Angels. That's a good sign, right? Good sign.
And 2-1. That's what was last? We were talking about games lost last year. How many games did we lose by 1 run or walk offs?
Remember the seventh inning disaster? We couldn't. We blew.
I still remember the weekend in Miami, or the weekend, or the Jake Berger weekend. Let's not talk about the Pittsburgh weekend.
Kopech. God damn it!
See, that's why we're trying to forget. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Sox win.
Yeah, I think they're trying to keep. Looks like they're trying to keep Smith and like Schultz together. They're trying to like move them together. So, with the way Schultz that they've looked this spring, it's like they're doing it. I think they want to get their innings built up in Beham, because they would like Schultz was already in Beham, and was pitching well there. I think if Smith was in Winston, Smith would overwhelm those guys. He needs to be in Birmingham with him, and Grant Taylor I think is going to be in Beham too. Just build the innings up. But those two I think are going to come together as long as they are on track. I think they're going to come together maybe in August. That's my prediction. I think they're going to come together. But you're right. After the deadline, after Perez is moved, then you got getting those guys up here. But that's the thing. That's, I think, the plan is. That's what I think. So.
Well, and I don't know how many years Davis Martin actually has left on his contract. I know he's in pre-arbitration, so I don't understand necessarily all of these fans who are like, he's getting moved at the deadline. At a certain point, you need to draw the line in the sand.
Right.
Where that's going to be like, no longer is this just like about building a farm system. Like there is actually like progress being made here. So I've seen a lot of Sox fans on Twitter just sit there and immediately assume like, oh, Davis Martin's going to get – it's like, I understand that, but wouldn't you flip a prospect? Like we have a plethora of pitching prospects.
Right.
Where I'm not saying like Noah Schultz or anyone like that.
No. Yeah.
Untouchables. But you can delve into the farm a little bit as opposed to just being like anyone who's proving anything at the major league level. I mean, Martin minimally probably has like 3 years left under control.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't just see like, Chris Getz is like, nope, I need to trade him. I mean, I think Robert would be the last one of that kind of mindset.
Yeah.
Or as you mentioned,
I mean,
Vaughn for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vaughn is going to be a free
camera. I don't know, or off the podcast, but yeah, those are like the last two.
Because Vaughn his contract ends in 26. I think he would love to Vaughn have a really good first half, and then maybe flip him in at the deadline. Everybody's looking for a bet. Everybody's looking for something. He moved Eloy. He got Eloy moved, and Vaughn was having a better year than Eloy was. If he can get a good 4 months out of Vaughn, if somebody needs a DH, a first baseman, he might with a year and a half of Vaughn control, anything. So
then Andrew Vaughn, I think, is more valuable because he isn't injury prone. Like Andrew Vaughn, as much as everyone knocks him, he does generally
plays every day. Yeah.
It's the same thing with Benintendi, where so many fans get on his case, and it's like, I mean, even when he's been hurt, like last year, the first half, so they came out like later. Of course, there was the excuse or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But the first half, I mean, he still played a shit ton of games in the first
does.
Whether he was hurt or not. So
he plays every day. And, he worked hard to get back. He could have said, you know what, I'm coming back late April. I could have said, I'm just whatever. No, he's, and I know they're facing a lefty opening day, but he wants to be there. He wants to be here and ready on opening day. So, and I think, listen, like, and if he can give you anything like he did the second half of last year, kind of like that, I think they'll be better. Like I said, just be better offense, be a more competent offense. That's all. So.
And win games like they did today, 2-1. Not like close game out. Like again, I mean, because you have mentioned the closer could be a guy that we've had on our team feels like 7 times now, Mr.
Right.
Clevinger.
Oh
So,
yeah.
how would you guys feel about Clevinger being the closer? And Damien, I'll get your opinion since first
Well,
time.
here's the thing about Clevenger. I know it's very controversial. I get it, but he's been very controversial. And 2 years ago when they got him, there was big uproar.
Oh my
I
god.
said, listen, Major League Baseball cleared him, and that was my stance on it. If they had found him, first, I knew the White Sox weren't going to cut him right away. I knew that wasn't going to happen. I use common sense because they got to pay him. They got to pay him. So at the end of the day, I said my argument was, listen, let's see how he does. In 2 years ago, he was a good pitcher for the Sox. He was good. He was good. He was their best pitcher. So, Dylan Cease was, but he was him and Dylan were the two best pitchers. Alex Dillon had a down year. He was an ERAs in a 4. So Clevenger pitched well, but he has the injury bug does uh, bit him a little bit. They tried to trade him that year, but he has baggage. He has baggage. So teams that want to go there. Last year they tried to bring him in again, didn't work out. When I saw him get interviewed, he's like, "Yeah, I like it in the bullpen because he can air it out. He can just, hey, listen, you're going to throw 20 pitches, 15, 20 pitches, whether it's set up roll, whatever. He's just trying to make the team. He's just trying to get a job. So that's what he's doing right now. So he's motivated to do that, and he's not a clubhouse issue, despite what people say. He's always gotten along with everybody in there. So, yeah. So let's see. Whether he's an eighth inning guy or ninth inning guy, if he can get the job done, just get the job done. And maybe at this deadline he could be moved. You know what I mean? Maybe. So
Gotta
you
find
got
that
to,
right.
yeah. But
He's
maybe for the first 4 months he goes out and performs, and then you go ahead and you line him up in the back with Wilson, who pitched well this spring, pitched well in San Diego. Last year he was rough here, but he said mechanics were off and he was hurt. He had
Wait,
a couple of
Wilson or
veterans.
Anderson?
Steven Wilson.
Okay,
Steven Wilson.
I was talking about Justin Anderson.
No,
I
yeah.
don't want to see that man pitch ever again.
He pitched well today, but yeah, I get it. Yeah, but Steven Wilson was good in San Diego. He was good. He said his mechanics were off last year, and then yeah. If they can get a veteran like that pitching well, Leisure takes the next step. That you got Penn Murphy pitching well. At
So
least
who
maybe
is
you get
that guy?
some.
Who is that? Because he's my closer in MLB this show. I don't know who he is.
Penn
I
Murphy.
didn't know who he was
Yeah.
before he got here either, but he does. He's pitched well, so
He's like a 58 overall. I don't know who he is.
yeah.
It's like,
So if they
okay,
can go
sure.
ahead and get some stabilization down there, where they can focus on getting some outs, and if they're winning, they close them out. Then yeah, that's what you have. So because if you Shane Smith, and don't forget this kid Boozer, they got him. He's a left-hander. He said he's pitched well in this spring. So you got some guys back down there, and Tyler Gilbert's another one. He's a long reliever. I'm surprised they sent Nastrini down. He was having a decent spring, but maybe I think they wanted him to work on his control a little bit. But he'll be up here too. He'll be back up here too. So, yeah, my thing is, when Venable said he wants to you up by committee until he gets everything settled. If Clevenger gets the job done, go be it. So be it. Let him go, and then that's my stance on it. And then you can go get the job done. That's all. That's my stance on it. So.
Well, and that's the thing. They signed him. There is no going back on it now. Like, it's already done. It's been 3 years in a row. I get people are upset about it, but it doesn't appear to be the direction that they want to go in. So, I don't know. If you can get something for him, I kind of just see that regardless of your view on him, if you can get any the deadline for him, then it's a win. So
yeah, exactly. And like I said, I'm sympathetic to everything what happened. I get it. Major League Baseball cleared him. You had a lot of sports radio guys in this town, namely a certain guy on the Score. We know that is made it a point of just going after him. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Okay, Major League Baseball cleared him, so we'll go with that. That's my stance on it. So, but I'm not. You know, I'm not going to go further with it, and that's it. So, at the end of the day, he's here. Again, he was good. He was good the first year. Last year, the injury bug got him, and then now we'll see what he does in relief. He's pitched well this spring. Velo's there, and let's see how he does.
I think there we go. Well, that leads into me for the predictions for the pitchers. So I have a couple things I'm going to ask you guys, and I want to see which pitcher you think will have at the end of the season. So, which pitcher will have the most innings pitched? Deech, I'll start with you.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Sean Burke. I just think he has the stuff to be able to go deeper into games. I mean, we'll see. Thorpe, we don't know if Thorpe will pitch the rest of this year. I mean, who knows when it's an elbow thing. Cannon would be my other argument where he could, but he hasn't proven it in spring training like he's locked in. So we'll have to see. But I'll go with Sean Burke right now.
What do you think, Damian? Who you got?
I'm going to go with the guy who I thought was going to opening day starter. Was Davis Martin. I'm going to go with Davis Martin. He's had a dynamite spring, and he looks great. I think he's been a starter. You saw him last year work through the injury, whatever. I think he's locked in, doing fine. I think he's going to be the clear number 2. He's going to pitch. I think down the 29th. I'm going with him. I think he's going to be really good for the Sox this year. So I'm going to go with Davis Martin. Not that Burke isn't, but I'm going to go Martin. To answer that question.
I think it's crazy that Davis Martin is now our number 2 when like 2-3 years ago he was our number 6. You remember people were upset that he was out for the year or something. I always
yeah.
But I just to make it, I feel like the other guy that could possibly have it is Martin Perez, because obviously he's the veteran and everything else like that. But it looks like those would probably be the top 3 in the rotation and everything else like that. So Damian, I'll ask you this: what about the wins? You think that Martin has the most wins, or you think there's somebody else on there that gets it?
That's a tough one. You know what? I'm going to go with Martin in the most wins. I'm going to stick with him. I think, and I think it's going to be between him and Burke, but I think it'll be Martin with the most wins.
Deej, what about you? And do you think we have a pitcher over 10 wins? Is that too much to ask?
Well, remember, wins isn't a stat anymore, right? Nobody looks.
I look at when I look at the record.
Yeah, I get it. It's like that's a thing. It's not a thing anymore, but yeah.
I know.
In my day, it was, but yes, not anymore.
I'll go with. I'll just stick with Burke at this point. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a crapshoot, and it's hard to tell if the offense can come out and just be like, I mean, I'm not even asking for like a great offense, but like last year was so bad. I mean, I just for like mediocre performances, and I mean, you can see all these wins going for some of these pitchers. So
it's going to be about the bullpen if they can hold it. If they can hold it till the end. How many times have we pushed? I mean, I know it was bad last year, but we did have some leads into the 7th inning, and it just collapsed. So if they can hold it, and we can finish it off. And my hope, and I think he will, is that Will Venable will manage the pen better. That's the thing. He will manage the pen better.
I mean, so it was bad as that Pedro did, because we were talking about the guy last year a little bit. Chris Flexen. How many games last year did this man pitch phenomenal? The Cubs, the Marlins game, I think he pitched against the Pirates. There were so many games last year this man pitched that we lost, and he was like 0-10 at one point. And it's just like, this poor guy should have at least like 4 or 5. And it was said that like Crochet and Fetty at that point were the guys that had the most wins, and I think at that point we had like 12 wins.
So, yeah, because the thing about Flex, and a lot of people dogged him, and I thought he gave everything he could to the Sox last year. He did. I thought he gave everything he could. He took the ball every 5th day.
They tried, and I think that's the biggest thing is that like Deech said, if they could score some runs and everything else like that. And I don't know where he went, but that's okay. I'll ask you this question. This is probably a good one though, and I don't know who the heck it's going to be. I was just going to say somebody that's not on the team, but who's going to have the most saves?
Shit. Well,
exactly.
if we're talking about the guy that may be the closer, I'm just going to go with Clevenger. If he becomes the closer, I mean, I think it's him. I think they're going to try and give Leisure some opportunities, but I think they want to work him in there. I think they want to work him in. So I think, because he's still a young pitcher. So I think they're going to give Clevenger some opportunities early, and if he takes to the job, and he saves his first 3 or 4 opportunities, I think that'll build on him. So I'll go Clevenger. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I mean I didn't think Leisure should be the closer, but I think last year Leisure was like one of those guys. Last year was like really exciting to watch, and obviously we've had Elijah, the future Sox, on here a few times talking about it. And I don't know when he talks about it, he hypes these guys up like they're like So it was really cool to see. But yeah, I mean I probably agree with you. I thought it was gonna be was it pre-man pre
Baroa.
yeah him, but
That was
obviously he's out for the year. So, Deech, who do you got for saves? I don't know if you heard all that, but yeah, who do you got for saves this year?
I'll just be different here and say Leisure. It probably will be. It's Clevenger's, I feel like, job to lose at this point. They've hinted that he seems to be the favorite, even though Venable's claiming it's like kind of by committee. But I'll go Leisure just to be different.
Yeah.
That worked. And like I said, Leisure did very well last year in the bullpen. And again, at one point, I think he was like there was like two guys that we could trust. And I mean, I don't know what it was with the Justin Anderson, but freaking Pedro was obsessed with him or his.
Well, that was Justin Anderson was. Who was the guy? Damn it,
Jimmy Cordell.
No, the year before. What's his name? The guy.
Brian Wilson every day.
Jose Ruiz.
No, it was Brian Wilson.
Brian, no. From the year before, he took the ball every day, like every day. And
was that Brian?
No, not a Spanish guy. You know what I'm talking about. Damn it.
Who you're talking about? Yeah, he pitched. Bro, Brian Shaw.
Shaw,
there we go. Shaw, not Brian. There we go. Brian Shaw every day. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You remember Beef Loaf and his meme? I'll pitch Brian.
Every day.
He gets the ball every no matter what. I'm throwing him out there.
Brian, I don't know why.
Each manager gets comfortable with a guy where they're just like, I'm gonna throw this guy until his arm falls off.
That's what Ruiz was Tony's guy. Yeah. Ruiz was Tony's guy. Yeah.
And then Cordell was
Ricky.
Was it Ricky? who was and you might we might have to real White Sox fans would only know this. What about fucking oh my god, why can't I think of his name? The third baseman that fucking was our manager for a couple
Robin?
Yeah, Robin Ventura. There we go. It's fucking oh man, I can't. But last year the hitting sucked. Let's hope it's not this bad this year. But I think it's now time to talk about these position players. So I'm gonna go over the guys that they do have and just the way they have it set up, and then we'll talk about it and then predict like we did. And then So at first base they have Andrew Vaughn. Is Josh Rojas ready at second base, or is he starting on the IL? I heard something about him on the IL, or is he not, or was that a lie?
It's hit or miss right now. They said it's based off of how much pain he can tolerate.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because again, obviously, like I said earlier, the roster is not set, and I'm more or less just telling that for the people that are watching.
Yeah, Chuck says he's working out, and he says he's going to try to get back to baseball stuff in the next couple of days. If you see him in the lineup in the next couple of days, I think he'll have a good answer. I think he'll have a good So.
And again, a lot can happen in a week. We've seen it happen before in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Every sport, you never know. Somebody could get hurt this weekend, slip and walk into. You never know. So we also have Lennon Sosa at second base and Brooks Baldwin. Third base, we have all of our favorites, Mr. Miguel Vargas, Jacob Amaya, shortstop. Third shortstop, I guess that they're saying. Catchers, Corey Lee, Matt Dias.
Yeah.
Dice.
I think they're going to open with those two. And then
obviously we've talked about Edgar Quero and Kyle Teal a bunch today, a little bit today, and a bunch on the podcast and everything else like that. Andrew Benintendi at left field, Austin Slater. I don't know why. I don't know why. Is this the dude that was on Baltimore?
Slater and the Giants
Giants. Okay, I just always remember him being on Baltimore for some reason. We have Luis Robert in center field. Michael A. Taylor. Yes, that Michael A. Taylor is on this team now. Mike Talkman might be my favorite player that we got this year. Maybe
I like him.
Might have been my favorite player, new player to meet at Sox Fest. And then they have
Jankowski.
No, that's right. You listen. I was trying to forget about last year, and you want me to remember that home run that he robbed? Listen, man. But yes, we also do have Travis Janikowski too. But
we take Rangers now. We don't take Royals. We take Rangers now.
I didn't even think of Didn't Will Venable play on the Rangers? Is that why?
Yes, he was the bench coach in the Rangers. We take Rangers now.
Right.
That's
That's
better.
right.
That's
When they won the
better.
World Series. That's right.
That's
Oh
better.
my God.
James, he said Venable called him and was like, "Hey, you should come play for the Sox."
I mean, I'd put
He
him
was
in
on the
left field.
Cubs. He was on the Cubs.
Put him in left field. If he robs home runs like last, man, that is one of those games I will never forget where I was at because was so fucking. I got so excited. I was so excited. And then they said Manfred dropped it. I was like, "You suck."
Well, Justin pointed out in one of the previous podcasts that might have been the most insane like robbing of a home run that I've ever.
Wait, who?
Was so far over the wall.
Wait, who did you say said that?
Justin did.
Who? Justin who? I don't know who that guy is. You mean the guy that's not here watching March Madness? Oh yeah, that guy.
Got Mizzou, man. He's got the alma mater. Got to watch Mizzou.
No, I think that alma mater. He's a switch hitter. I think I believe he's a switch hitter, and again he can get on base a little bit more. And he's like if you look at the outfield potential, if you have Talkman, Robert, Jankowski, that's a pretty good outfield. That's a pretty good outfield. So, and he'll start Benintendi in left. But I was curious if they're up by 1 or 2 runs late in the game, does he pull Benintendi? Does he pull Benintendi for the defense? I would because
I would just replay the Rob home run every single day.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what he should do. Because Pedro didn't do that. So I would go with the best defense you have to finish out games because they're going to need to win those. And they have to win so many games within the margins. They have to. They have no room for error.
Today. 2-1.
Yeah, like today.
I'm going back to today for now because that's all we got to. That's all we got to go off of is today. 2-1.
Gets tried to do that last year. Remember, try to bring a better defense, but it just didn't. Only Paul DeJong was the only guy that really worked. That was the only guy that worked. So, yeah,
they didn't focus on the outfield. So I mean, Pedro didn't have many options. It was like, what do you want?
We brought in Tommy Pham. What you mean, bro?
Yeah. Tommy Pham.
He's playing on his like 15th team or whatever. He said he's like he's on a mission now to play for every team in the MLB. He said, "I'm like, that's great. I love."
You know what? What's his name said? Best James Fox said. They needed Tommy Pham in 2022 when that team was 500 and they needed like a dude on that team. He would have been perfect for that team because that team. He said they needed a guy because the thing is they needed a guy that was gonna they lost Tony whenever they lost him and Miguel Cairo did the best job he did, we know that, but they needed a guy in right field to go ahead and just a guy in the clubhouse to straighten out those guys that were in a malaise all year. That's what they needed. They needed a guy like that.
And as deep side have been Colas going out there looking at the ball through his legs.
No.
Yeah, no, that was just
And then you had to play Gavin Sheets right. So
God, yeah, that guy's turning into Babe Sheets.
Right.
Science apparently.
Having an Adam Engel spring training for himself.
Yeah.
He said
I told the Padres guy, I'm like, just great guy, good for him, but there's going to be a fall. It's going to happen.
I think you and I have to do an episode where we just sit here and just name a bunch of ex-White Sox players and just get a bunch of people that we could just talk about the Brent Lillibridges of the world and the freaking Connor Gillespies and the
legends,
Belisarios and the that.
Well, today would have been Ivan Calderon's 63rd birthday. Now that's the guy before your time, but that was a White Sox legend.
Way before my time.
White Sox legend, though. White Sox legend.
White Sox legend. Okay, you love to see it. But yeah, I mean, again, this offense should not be as bad as they were last year. I mean, because as bad as they were last year, the amount of runs that they did not score was awful. Because I remember a few games last year that they had a couple good games, like the one in Cincinnati. I always remember because it was like the day after my birthday, and that was like about it.
Yeah.
And they didn't learn how to score the rest of the year because, as we saw throughout the summer and throughout the rest of the year, they lost so many games, or they would score in the first through 6 innings, and on the 7th inning, they just could not. So
the St. Louis series when they beat them 2 out of 3. Remember?
Yeah.
That was a good series, actually. They beat Lance Lynn. That was a good series. That was a good series. Honestly, they played really well. That was a good series.
Didn't they win 2 out of 3 against the Braves too?
They did because one of the games was made up in the rain. Remember?
That's right. Yeah, they did. That's right. I remember. That's right. It's just like that, and that's sad. That's how we remember like some of the wins. Like I said, the one with Sean Burke at the end of the year was the one I always remember. But like I said, it really can't be. Well, again, I don't want to say that because I said that a few years ago, and but yeah. So, Deech, how do you feel about this offense, and what do you think? Like, what are your overall predictions about it, like just in general? And do you think that I don't even know how many runs they scored last year? I'm sure it wasn't that many. I know it was very low because I know at one point Chuck and Ozzy showed it, and they were 100+ runs behind the Rockies, and the Rockies were ranked 29. So.
I believe they probably set some records offensively for like worst team ever in certain stats, at least last year. Run scored might have been them, or run differential.
Oh, the run
that used to be a big one for me, but I mean, it should be better. You seem to you've gotten rid of enough guys that we were all sick and tired of, and clearly we're not listening to any coaching advice. So you would think it would get better this year. I can't say. I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, Ryan Fuller." I'm not discrediting him, but I just need to see it like before I can fully jump on board with that.
Well, I think that I didn't know, honestly. I'll say this: I didn't know who Bannister was before he was hired. But I mean, I looked him up. I'm like, he had a good track record before. So we'll see what I think maybe it's paying dividends to Luis Robert. I think how he's approaching his camp, like he's listening. He's listening. Like he's like, listen, if he can cut down his strikeouts and take his walks, just take the walks, just take them, because he can get to second base right away because he can steal bases. So get on second base and see what happens. But you could tell that he's listening. He's listening to what the White Sox are telling him. This isn't Eloy. This isn't Mancada who just didn't listen. He is legitimately trying to listen. So I think that we'll see. I think the approach they're trying. And the thing about listen, I was on Marcus Thames too last year, but I think Deech, you said it. You can't keep firing the hitting coaches. You just can't. And I came to the conclusion. I'm like, you just can't do it. So at the end of the day, you got to have one guy telling him stuff with Fuller to go forward. Just like they kept Ethan Katz around. I know people bash him a lot, but I think Ethan's done a good job. And I think that if you keep that one voice in their heads, let's go forward with that. We're done with Tony Menachino. Like
that goes just with the injuries too. I mean, at some point, and I get in the beginning it was what it was, but I mean, at one point, you just got to realize Mancada and Eloy's and blah 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 just can't stay healthy. Like it doesn't matter. I mean, again, we just talked about it like 20 minutes ago. Mancada most likely starting the season on the IL again, and Eloy's trying to make the team in Tampa Bay. So it just like and that's the thing. Like the hitting, like at one point it was just the guys. Like you got to get new guys in here and figure out what is what.
Yeah, and if like Brandon Drury, I mean, the thing is, I know a lot of people, that's bad signing. I know that, but the thing is, like, listen, 2 years ago he was a really good hitter. The year before that, he was a good hitter. So he has a track record. Last year he was hurt, and he talked about new approaches to the offseason. Listen, he could play second, DH, first, and third. So you could work him around. So if he comes in and has a better than Paul DeJong type year or something like that, he's a good guy in the clubhouse. He can help. Like Rojas, same thing. Rojas was a good player. You get those two guys and they do their thing, they can go ahead and help him a lot because, yeah, that's why I like the signing. If Drury didn't work out, then he didn't work out. It's an NRI. You're not paying him $10 million. Just like Gallo, I had a feeling Gallo wouldn't work out. I think we all thought Gallo wouldn't work out. But the thing is,
pitcher now.
Yeah, the pitcher now, and it seems like a great guy. But those Texas years when he was bombing home runs, even okay, like when he was hitting 210, who cared? If he hit 45 home runs, that was good. But the thing is, he's gone. He can't catch up to anything anymore. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think Getz made some good moves here. Let's see how it shakes out. I like Corey Lee's had a good spring. Good for him. The Thais move, he hits right-handers pretty well. He gets on base at a good clip. He's a good defensive catcher. Remember, there's no Maldi anymore. So I think Lee doesn't have to catch as much anymore. Maybe that helps him until you bring up the two young kids. So hopefully, that'll help. And then the new bench coach McGivern, he came from the Brewers. He's like a catcher whisperer. So that's another strong hire. So
and they haven't had a good catcher since AJ. Never bad to have you can have 7 catchers. I don't even care.
Yeah, listen, you can't have too many. It's just like in football, you can't have too many good offensive linemen.
They seem to be developing these younger pitchers into being more aware of guys on the base pass. I mean, I would remember Kopech would be a spaz when there would be a guy on first base.
Yeah.
Be
Well,
like,
Stone is, yeah.
And we have a guy who's taking forever to get the ball over the plate. So of course they're going to steal second base. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
Stone talks about that all the time. You can see him in the booth. He gets like, he either pull whatever hair he's got left out when the guys just can't hold runners. You can't hold runners. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. And again, we live in Chicago. We've seen the guys like Burleys and Garcias and Garlands and Contreras, Jankses and Cots and guys that we've been watching for years ago. I was just naming guys that I could just talk about in my head. But I mean, there's the way, I mean, they wouldn't even look at runners. I think they said it last year that the teams had the most stolen bases against the White Sox, and teams would know. They would get first to third by just stealing a couple bases, and it was just like, oh my god, like come on. And that's just easy outs that you can get if you're paying attention. And and that's the thing, like having all these catchers, like you guys said with Corey Lee. Corey Lee could go play first base, have Dice play catcher, and then maybe Caro comes up first because I feel like he's more likely to come up faster. And I feel like, because we've been talking about him for a while, I feel like they said like this would be around the time, like this year would be around the time that he would come up. So should be really interesting. But I do have more predictions too, but this time for the hitters. So Deech, I'll start with you for this one. And who do you have? And again, I want to say this. Besides Luis Robert, who is going to have the most home runs on this team? Because Luis Robert's the easy answer.
I am going to go Vargas. I'll just buy into the 20 pounds of muscle or whatever he put on and roll.
That's right. They did say he came in better shape. I don't know. I couldn't see it. He all looked all angry and pissed at me at Sox Fest. So I didn't see it. What about you, Damien? Who you got home runs?
Well, you said beyond Luis Roberts?
Yeah, I mean, that's easy answer. Come on now.
Yeah, I know. Let me think here.
He said, let me think.
Oh, you know what? I am going to go on a limb. Let's see here. I would have said Brandon Drury. Everybody wants to hear me say Brandon Drury. You know what? I'm going to go Miguel Vargas.
You guys Miguel Vargas.
I'm going to say he's gonna tear it up, man. I'm going to go Miguel Vargas.
You know what he needs to do is just bring the World Series ring from last year that he got because he was on the team and just have him, do this.
He's hit well this spring. I mean, he has. Give him props. He's hit well this spring. So he looks like his bat speed's a little bit better, and he looks like he's new approach. So I'm gonna because listen, it was gonna be him or Drury. I've been propping my guy Drury up a lot. I'm gonna go Vargas. So if he can hit 20 homers, 22 homers, that'd be insane. Honestly, insane. So
22 homers might actually lead this team, but
well, if Robert does his thing, it won't. But
that's very true. So I guess he could be number 20. He could be number 2 on the team because I do feel like Robert will lead the team in home runs again. That's why I feel like
if he's healthy, he will for sure.
And that's the thing. I think last year it took away from what he did the previous year because what he did the previous year was just incredible. I mean, he was the guy nobody wanted to pitch to him. He would come up and he knew it was gone. He is so. I mean, when he hits that ball and it's gone, like it is like the sweetest swing in the world.
The thing about Robert is that year he only walked like 30-something times, and he still was a 5 WAR player. He was killing it, whatever. Here's the thing: if you could walk in the mid-50s, give me mid-50s walk totals. That's all I ask. He slugs the way in the slugs. He's gonna absolutely destroy it this year. That means he's gonna have a better approach because he could do 30-30. He could be a 30-30 easy. So that's why I'm looking. He could do it. He's that good.
2 years ago with Robert, the big thing I noticed was a majority of his homers were solo shots. I mean,
that too.
Like 80 something RBIs with almost 40 or 40 home runs. I mean, that's not
by accident. You should be hitting 100 RBIs just by accident with 38, 40 homers. For you, just that accident, you should be able to run around 100. I saw Paulie did that in 05. Paulie was 40 and 100 right on the noggin. So the thing is, by accident, it's like the dude's hitting solo shots because nobody's getting on base.
And that's the biggest thing. You get on base, you get a couple runs, and ta-da, and it makes life easier. And hey, you know what? If the White Sox score runs, guess what, White Sox? We'll come back and watch more games, and Deech will buy more games for his ticket. I'm sure, Damien, are you one of those guys that goes to every game too, and you're part of Are you part of the 108 crew?
No,
And all
I have never sat in the
Twitter
108.
crew and
I
all of
actually have
that?
never met anybody in the 108. It was all seem like awesome dudes. I'd like to meet a few guys. I'm kind of nervous. I don't know. So
He's like, I'm nervous. That's okay. I mean, listen,
honestly, those guys all seem like good dudes. I'm sitting in the 110 on opening day. So
hey, there you go. It's I was actually looking for tickets like in that section, but and that's the thing. I mean, again, they play good baseball. You want to come back, and for me, somebody that lives now 3 hours away, if I'm watching the Sox play good in April and May, I might buy a couple. I might buy a weekend if I come to Chicago. That is just one game. Where and that's the biggest thing. So I'll ask you, Damian, what about batting average for these guys? And I'll say, just to be different for home runs, I'll say that it will be I'll say Andrew Vaughn has a better season this year.
I'm going to go with you there. I think he will. I think. Let's see. I think he will. But again, you know what? I'm going to go. My thing, Andrew Vaughn. His home run total's kind of gone up every year. I just want Andrew Vaughn to hit 25 homers. He had 19 last year. Can you get to 25? Can you get to 25? Is that all? Because he's usually going to hit about 30 plus doubles. If he hit 25 in the 30s, that's pretty good. And if he could do that, that will help the offense be competent. So I think for the most part, the guy that I'm looking again to be really productive for the Sox is Brandon Drury. I think he's going to step up and help the Sox because if he plays well, he'll get back to a Cup form that he was a couple years ago, and do his thing. And the thing is, again, they can't flip him. They can flip him at the deadline. He's a guy they can flip. So, and let's see if Lenin Sosa becomes the better than 4A guy that he's been for a lot.
I'm happy that we don't have fucking the other one, Laurie Garcia's ass.
Oh,
I can't deal with it. Deej, what about you though? Batting average.
I'm gonna go with Benintendi. I think Benintendi's gonna come locked in. I think last year Grady put his foot up his ass in the second half and was like, "Hey, like you're the veteran. We're paying you a decent amount of money. Let's see what we actually signed you for." So I'm gonna go with Benintendi. I think he'll lead the team in batting average.
Gotcha. Well, I did not even notice that we've been here for over an hour, so I got two more questions for you, and then we'll go because obviously I don't want to run over. But it's the final question: how many games does this team win? We won 41 last year. So I'll start with you. How many games do you think this team can realistically? Okay, give like a. I don't know if you ever watch like the fantasy. Give me like a medium and like a floor. Like what's like the, or like. You know what I mean, right?
Did you ask me to go first?
Yeah, okay. You.
I'm not even going to give you a floor. I'm just going to go flat on the dot, 63 wins. So we will not lose 100 games, but it will not be pleasant anyways.
So 63 and 99. I have to. There was somebody in my chat yesterday that said, "Are the White Sox going to go 62 and 128?" I was like, "Huh?" It's like, did they add 60 more games? So I just got to confirm. 63 and 99, people. That's what the record would be. But Damian, what do you think?
I am going to be very positive, and I am going to say 64 and 98.
I thought you were going to pull like Chuck or something. Chuck
64 and 98. 64 and 98.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's kind of like where they're at, where it's like, and that's sad. Where like that's 23 more wins than we had last year. That's a month of winning that we did not see last year. Like
I know that a lot of these like fan graphs and everything have the White Sox around 63, 64 wins.
Yeah,
a lot of them, which I was surprised. I think it's a lot of them have Robert staying healthy. I think a lot of that's part of it, but
that's a lot to do with a lot of it. If these guys stay healthy and if they go out there and they're playing in the spring training, I don't know what their record is in the spring. I think last time I saw it was like 6 and something, but I mean, I know they won a few games. But again, like I said earlier, if they win more than 3 games in April, shit, they could sweep the Yankees and already patch their April win. It's sad.
When did they win their first series last year?
I remember Chuck and Ozzy talking about that. I don't think it was until I think it was that St. Louis series, to be honest.
It might have been, yeah. I mean,
Braves.
What's his name closed it in the rain?
Yeah, it was the St. Louis series. That's right, because the St. Louis fans were mad that they lost because of that.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it was. But
Yeah.
that's like,
Listen, don't yell at us, dude. You can't even. Whatever. Don't yell at us. We suck. You can't beat us. I mean,
the sod father, man. Sorry that you don't
Yeah,
have the sod father.
yeah. He would have got that field ready. I guarantee he would have got that field ready
right now. I bet you if you guys are closer than I am, but I bet you if you go to guaranteed, or I'm sorry, you go to rate field, whatever the fuck they want to call it now. God, I just want to call it Comiskey. But I bet you if you go there, I bet you he's got the field already. But yeah, I mean, and that's
hey man, I still call Comiskey, and I was there in the last year of the old park. Loved it.
I'll even call US Cellular every once in a while. I cannot deal with the rate or the arrow or I just want to burn it down. I swear I can't. But yeah,
well, maybe they'll go to the South Loop, the Loop Park. That's the plan, right? It's the 78. Is that the?
Yeah.
They're trying to get the funding for that, so then Jerry will sell to the two guys. Jerry will sell to the billionaires then.
God love it. But yeah, no, I'm gonna say more or less. I feel like you said, I feel like with what Deech said, I feel like that should be like the lowest, and I feel like the highest maybe for them, maybe like 67, 68. Where again, and I don't even know. Again, and that's still asking for a lot. But I mean, even then, like them, again, if they like I said, win more than 3 games in April, that's just little things, and go out there and just play baseball that you want the fans to come out there, because White Sox fans. I had season tickets for a while. I know Deej, you've had them forever. When they're good, when they're fun, when it's nice out, there's people that show up. There's shit. You give away a bobblehead, they show up. So
I was at a game.
I mean,
I left a night game with my dad, and he hadn't been to a Sox game since 1990, because he was actually a Cub fan, and he gave up on those guys. But he's like, let's go to a Sox game. He wanted to see the park. So him and I went. And he said, "Damn, this is a crazy fan base." He goes, "This is a working class fan base. It's not like the Cub fans. This is a real fan base." He goes, He goes, "The park was energy. They were playing the Astros that night, and this was. I mean, Jake Berger had a homer. Abreu had a homer that night. Giolito went like I think 8 2/3 or 8 1/3. He killed them that night, and this was in 21. The park was electric. This was when I won the division, obviously, but." The park was electric. It was probably 35,000 there that night. When they're good, we know. When the team, that's why we're all pissed, because when we want this team to be good, and we want them to be good. And I think we show up when they're good. It's just we're not like the sheep on the north side, right?
And it makes our life easier as podcasters and Twitters and all the accounts and everything. When they're good, everything else is better, and it's not so toxic and everything.
Yes.
But Damien, that's all I got here, and I appreciate you staying a little bit longer and everything else. But if there is anything you want to let the people know where they can go and find you, or anything that you got going on, or any channels or anything, this is your time.
I don't have any channels or anything. I'm on X, just like you guys. I follow the team. I'll be at the park. I'm going to be there opening day. Maybe I'll be at some other games this year. I'm going to try to go to the Burley game. I'm going to try to go to the Burley unveiling. We'll see. I usually don't go this early. Huh?
And they should just do all that in one day.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I think it's cool Derek Rose is doing the throwing out of the first pitch. I thought they might have get an 05 guy do it, but we'll see how it shakes out the rest of the season. I know they're trying to do some stuff to try to get people over at the park, but I'm excited. I mean, we'll see how. I want to see the young kids up. When they have more of these young kids up, that's what I want to see. I want to see more of these young kids up playing, and especially when they get Schultz and Hagen Smith up, I'll definitely try to see when they pitch. That's the thing. I want to see them pitch. So
that's how I am when I go to games. I'm like, okay, let me line up the rotation to see who's gonna pitch.
Yeah,
there would be so many games me and my friend used to go to where we would be facing John Danks, or we would have John Danks pitching. And I'd be like, of course, this would be the game we go to. So
yeah, right, Johnny Danks.
But
that was Flexen last year. Every game I went to, I'd look and I'd be like, damn it, Flexen's pitching again.
Johnny Danks, I believe the last pitcher Jerry gave an extension to.
God, I can't even.
That's why he doesn't do it anymore.
Real quick, see if we got any good chats. I did survive after my 8-hour stream playing the My Rise yesterday. I did, thank you. But let me see. Not a new green screen. I just cannot put my green screen on because, as you see, the light, and it just does not look very good. But the green screen will be back for SmackDown tomorrow. Don't you worry. Or well, I guess not, because I lied. SmackDown's at 2:00 tomorrow because they're on a European tour.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm not excited. They literally are starting so early now. We got Lil is it Luch? Am I saying that wrong? Right in the house? King BDA. We are all witnesses.
Nice.
Thank you for
Nice.
stopping by. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I'd like to do it again if that's okay, man. This is fun. This is fun. So
Eric said he loves long Southside Boys episodes. I do too. And also, I did not forget, Eric. Where did I see it? Where did I see it?
They've been short because they've been so bad.
Listen. I know that, but I saw something. He said, and I was like, wait, I want to say it because I just where the heck did it delete? God dang it! Oh, here we go. White Sox games, streaming White Sox games. I will be forcing Deech and Justin to watch and stream White Sox games as I sit here and stream Monday Night Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and all of that. So yes, we will be doing that. And if they can't and they don't want to show up and they really don't, I'll still be here and I'll watch a couple White Sox games because they should be better than last year. And that was the biggest reason why we didn't do it last year because they were winning 3 games a month.
yeah, let's try to get a series.
More, but yes, Eric, I will be forcing Justin and Deech to watch a couple White Sox games this year.
And we better beat the fucking Cubs this year. Oh,
yeah. Deech, I'm sorry if you don't like it, but all you gotta do is sit here and watch a couple innings. I'm sorry. Have a beer, call today. But that is all we got here for you guys. Thank you, Damian. I appreciate you joining us here today. And sorry it went a little bit longer.
No, it's fun.
We had more to talk about than we usually do. So, as Dee said, hopefully they are better, and hopefully when we come back here, because we will not be live here next week, as we will all be at opening day, as it looks like. So, make sure that you keep an eye out for some shorts and all that good stuff, and keep an eye out for all of us to be back in 2 weeks. Tino, Deech, and Justin, as we'll be back to talk about our experience at opening day. And we'll have some games to talk about, and let's hope the White Sox, as Deech said, maybe over 500, maybe got more than 3 wins. I mean, I know it's a lot to ask for, but they do play the Angels and the Twins by the time we come live here next, just so.
Yeah, we got to beat the Twins, man. We didn't beat the Twins last year, so I don't know how long.
All of it. But until next time, guys, go follow Damian, the commander of the World. Go follow Deech. Go follow Tino and all of the social medias on the ticker below. The OTM guys, the Main Event Network crew, Southside Boys on all of your social medias. Get your merchandise, memberships, all that stuff. Over on Tino's time, make sure you subscribe if you have not yet. We're here on the Southside Boys. Subscribe here too. Subscribe everywhere, guys. Go and do all that stuff. But lastly, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn that notification button on so you know when we go live here on the Southside Boys. And when I go live tomorrow afternoon, depending on where you all be, from SmackDown, as we continue the road to WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, as Mr. Hustle Loyalty Disrespect has got some, I don't know, man, I can't deal with that. But, guys, have a great Thursday, and I'll see you tomorrow.